Hiya! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday to all across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. All your goods, scripts, vaccines, anything you need, riteaid.com. All right, lots to get to today, but we're going to start. There was a massive line movement in the Eagles game. The Eagles, in the look-ahead line, were the favorite against New Orleans at 1.5. They're now a 2.5-point underdog. As we know, A.J. Brown is highly doubtful. He's probably not going to play because of the hammy. And we saw what happened Monday night. So the offshoot, let's talk about this for a second, because the offshoot of Monday night is that suddenly the Eagles are not a contender. That suddenly the Eagles are closer to the now 2-9 dating back to last year type of team. And I got to say that we got to pump the brakes here, all right? There's so many factors that we can't make sweeping judgments. Now, look, the run defense and the front four is a problem. It is a definite problem. However, this is not, they're done. They're not a contender. They can't win. They're a 7, 8, 9 win team. It's too early to make these sweeping judgments, especially when you look around the league and you know that this is the NFL. There's so many things at play here. Number one, they had once again, their preseason was just meaningless and they didn't do any work, right? Or very little work. And so, September in many ways is the new August. When you look at their offense, they didn't have A.J. Brown, all right? And you know what A.J. Brown means to Jalen. I still believe that offense is a playoff team type of offense. Now, I grant you that the defense needs to get fixed, and it's probably you're not going to do much off the front except hope that some of the young players blossom or get better. It's going to be up to Vic Fangio to, call plays and scheme around his personnel and figure that piece of it out where they're not just a death knell, right? I've seen things before. I'll remember, I go back in 2007, the Giants won the Super Bowl. The first 2 weeks of the season, Dallas scored 45 in a Giants loss. Green Bay scored 35 and a Giants loss. 80 points. And I remember Spags talking to Spags that week, and he's pulling his hair out. He's a first-time defensive coordinator. He's pulling his hair out. He's like, dude, we've given up 80 points. I mean, I know it's a new system and they're just getting it. He said, but, I'm worried. And lo and behold, they went on that incredible run. They win the Super Bowl. Like, we've seen Andy Reid teams get off to slow starts. I remember Westbrook saves the season on a punt return. All kinds of stuff. Like, I granted the next 2 weeks are not favorable matchups. Suddenly, you look at New Orleans and you see a team that's got incredible firepower against a defense that is toothless. So we're going to jump to a conclusion that, oh, my God, Saints put up 40. And, it could happen. All that said, it's too soon. Teams have flaws. San Francisco had lost to Minnesota and Sam Darnold. Dallas gets annihilated. We saw that, right? Detroit loses at home to Tampa Bay. Like, all these teams, it's so early in the season that you can't make this sweeping judgment that it's just an extension of last year and that that's not good and they're not a playoff team and we should no longer look at them like a playoff team. I just got to say, whoa, like we have to just wait. You can't. It's impossible after 2 weeks in this league. And again, look at the league. Look around you. In this league, you can't just completely go manic and now all of a sudden they stink. I don't believe they stink. I believe their offense is a legitimate offense. Really good. It's a playoff type of offense. You can't tell me that with their O-line, which is very good, with Barkley, who's sensational, with their receiving core, with AJ, and I know he's got a hamstring, right? And Goddard if he ever gets used again. But that's sufficient. And looking at Jalen, who had a lot of life in his legs. Like, he looked like he had burst Monday night. He looked spry. So I got to believe they're going to put up points. And then it's up to Fangio to try to make the defense. And just sometimes you got to scheme around your deficiencies. And if that means you got to blitz more and gamble more and turn games into a shootout, then so be it. Go, sell out for turnovers type of thing. You might have to do that. But it's too soon for this whole narrative. And I see it everywhere, right? All over social media, that all of a sudden the Eagles are done and that they're not a playoff team. And when they said that we have to stop, I forget who said it, we have to stop looking at the Eagles as a playoff team. I'm like, whoa, man, we just got to wait a second before we have these ridiculous sweeping judgments. In this league, everybody's got to learn. We should all understand this league, that it's a week-to-week league. Truthfully, I don't like the matchup either against New Orleans, and probably not against Tampa. But they're going to be 2-2 after 4. That's kind of how I feel. Let me go to my boys. Good morning, JP, John Zapata, VG, Violations, Greg.
Buenos dias.
Hello. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you disagree? Do you think the Eagles are a mediocre to bad team?
I think they're a mediocre playoff team. I thought that all along. I think they'll get into playoffs, and I think they're going to struggle in the playoffs. But they're not. I mean, we should have playoff aspirations. I just don't think they're flawed defensively. We've known it going in, and I believe in the playoffs, defense
that
gets
was our
exploited.
hope. That was our hope was that their defense would be better, right?
Right.
We hoped that Jordan Davis and Jalen. I remember saying the key to their defense is Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter has to be a beast, right? To allow, because if he's going to get doubled and they're going to just kind of swarm at Jalen, that guys off the edge would have to get home. Now, that didn't happen the other night.
I think we're kind of being unfair to Jalen with our expectations on him, just because there's just a dreck of talent around him.
But it's an unfair situation.
Yeah.
We're not being unfair. If you're thinking about it, if that defensive front is going to be effective, you need him to do that. Now, it's an unfair situation that he's in.
Yeah, we were asking him to overcome a double team because no one around him can create any kind of pressure, any kind of push. And he's, a second-year guy, double teamed 70% of the time that's difficult. It's a difficult situation to be in.
And this defense is tough, man. I know, there was a lot of question marks heading into the season with the defense, right? The young defensive line, can they take that next step? Are the linebackers enough? I think everyone felt comfortable about the secondary. But after, especially last week, man, especially on that last drive, it really has people down. And so that I feel that they're a mediocre to good team. Listen, the offense, it'll be fine. I do want Jalen to stop, doing that roll out to the right and start scrambling for yards. I don't like that. I want him to preserve his body for the entire season. But this defense, it has me worried.
Well, listen, again, I think you're right in that we should worry. I mean, the defense we just got done saying it. I think it's obvious. Everybody sees it. But teams are flawed.
Yeah.
Again, we're looking at it through just in Philadelphia. You're not looking through the other team. Dallas, everybody was excited on one of the top 5 defenses, and they got shredded. And on offense, they need a running back desperately, right? So they have flaws. And that's just in the division. Giants and Washington stink. Right?
Vikings are 2-0. I'd rather be an Eagles fan than a Vikings fan. I don't believe in the Vikings. I mean, Seattle's 2-0. I don't think they're good. I think the Eagles are a better team than Seattle.
Well, I still think Detroit's probably the best team in the conference, right? I think they have the best personnel, the best team, and I think they're the most talented. But again, they lost to Tampa at home. I mean, that's just the league. Again, I'm not saying Super Bowl,
Yeah, I mean-
but all of a sudden to say that they're no good and that they're a mediocre team.
I think that it's Kyle Brandt, right, of NFL.
Kyle Brandt was one.
Good Morning Football. And it is saying when they're counting the collapse of last year.
Up and down on yesterday in social media.
Yeah, so they're all lumping the collapse in with the start of this year, and I think you see coaching and maybe organizational problems that are existing that continue, and you see the talent's not stepping up. We thought
it's 2 games. Like my only point is it's 2 games, right?
It is, but it was the Falcons, man.
Dude, I get it, but
at home,
we also know that like this part, as much as we hate it, it's also part of the preseason. Like these guys don't work enough.
That's a good point.
In training camp and preseason, like there's all these little things you have to get buttoned up. I mean, it's like that throughout the whole league.
Look at Jalen Carter's late for stuff. I mean, that's
not a while. Listen, he was
troubling.
out for he sat the first 5 snaps.
It's troubling
because he was late.
Yeah.
Listen, like there are definitely like stuff to be worried about. But to automatically make sweeping judgments, my only point is I need to see more. Before I go, hey, they're not any good. I need to see more before I can make that kind of statement. Because I still believe in their offense.
Well, I'm with you. I'd be surprised if they don't win the division. I think they're a better team than Dallas, but I don't know.
My concern is that, look, this defense for the last 2 weeks, it hasn't been great. So I do get the sense that a lot of games throughout the year, we're going to be in shootouts. And can this offense hold up and win those games in those shootouts?
Well, we'll see. I mean,
that's what I want to see too.
But again, Fangio, new defensive coordinator, right? Like it takes a minute before they grasp his system. Even though they played a replica of it, it's still different with a new defensive coordinator, especially the guy who honed in on it. And listen, there's a lot in his lap. You're a 35-year NFL coach. Dude, you're gonna have to scheme around some things. You're gonna have to play call. Your calls are gonna be you're gonna have to win chess matches against OCs, and you're gonna have to. And again, that doesn't mean that you're looking for shutouts. That just means you just can't get annihilated.
And they were blitzing. I feel like they blitzed in Brazil. And they designed this disguise.
He was afraid. He was afraid. You could see it. He was afraid, and you can't. Like that last drive was inexcusable. But there were so many things. That were there. All right, listen. We started with Eagles because I am so excited for this Phillies team.
That's right.
Red October.
Get the bat out the way.
Is going to be so special.
I'm in the corner watching you kiss
you just feel it, right? I was hoping that today would be clinch day, right? I was really hoping because when I booked our next guest, I was like, I got to have my man on to celebrate the clinch. But it's going to happen. We know that.
Now he'll predict a clinch.
And we have to get on the great Bowa.
Yeah.
Who joins us.
What's up, guys?
Wait, there is the greatest picture of you and Charlie on the couch.
Last night.
Was that your house?
Yeah, at my house. He came over for dinner, and we watched the Philly game and just talked about baseball. That's all we do is talk baseball and go to games. We're going to go to Lehigh Valley probably Friday and watch some of the minor league stuff. And then
I might have to go with you. I think that's outrageous. That is so cool. Like you two talking baseball, the wisdom in that room.
That should be like a charity auction event.
Yes.
To go to a minor league game with Larry and Charlie. That's what
just sitting on Larry's couch.
I just want to be a fly on the wall.
What's on the menu last night?
Did you guys eat?
We had my wife Patty had baked lasagna. It was awesome.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice
that's fantastic.
Salad and garlic bread. It was awesome.
Oh, that's a feast.
And we also had a couple. We had a couple beers.
Of course.
Yeah.
So wait, this is the greatest. So take us into the living room. What's the baseball conversation? Like that was so interesting to me.
Last night, we were obviously admiring how Nola threw unbelievable.
Yes.
I mean, that might be one of his best games that I've seen him throw. So, we're thinking, okay, we don't have to get that many runs because Nola looks like he's on top of his game. And then we started talking. We got a little negative. I'm going to be honest with you. We struck out too many times.
Yeah.
And of course, Charlie being the hitting guru, Bo, we need a 2-strike approach. What's going on? So we sort of dissected that a little bit. And but there was no concern about us not getting in the playoff. We didn't even enter our conversation. But we just watched Nola. Nola was if Nola and Wheeler pitched like they did the last 2 times out, man, we're going to have a fun October. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, that was electric stuff. And let's face it, Milwaukee's got a good team. They play hard.
That
the only thing they don't.
Churio's a player. Tarang's a player, right? Yep. Contreras is a hitter. I mean,
they're all
they
young.
got a good lineup, and they go left,
they're
right
all young.
on you.
Their bullpen's lights out.
Yeah.
If they have something that they need to address, it might be the starting pitching because they got rid of Burns last year. That might be a bugaboo in the playoffs for them. But they catch the ball, they steal bases at will.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of speed. Their defense is good. Their pitching, they throw strikes. Whoever they play in the playoffs, they're going to be a tough out. I don't think we would get them early, but they're a good team. And the manager did a good job this year for them. That's his first year. Of course, Haas came back last night and hurt us a little bit. He hit the home run, and when you see a guy like Reese, because where we are in the standings, I don't want Reese to get any hits, but he's such a great guy. If anybody was going to beat us, I'm glad that Reese did a good job on getting some base hits because he's a great guy.
He is. He's what a great kid. He was always just a tremendous guy. Very charitable. I did a couple of his charity events. I mean, he was just a good dude, man.
Real good.
All around. But you're right about Nola. When you see Nola, that kind of stuff, because his stuff, like you said, was electric. And you can see the difference when he's getting strikeouts. And again, that's a disciplined team, right? That's not a team that's, strike out a ton on you. So those 9 strikeouts I thought was impressive. What's the difference is it the bite of his breaking ball?
Yeah.
And even his fastball has a little tail.
Life. Yeah. His breaking ball, it was going north-south. A lot of times he gets underneath it and it goes east to west and that. He was on top of it. That's the best breaking ball I've seen in a while. And he's been pitching good all year. But last night, if we could just jar that, put it in a little jar, and let it be the first playoff game, we're going to be in great shape. But, he was – I listened to his interview after. He was really excited the way through. He had his velocity stayed 94, 95 the whole game. But the breaking ball and changeups, they were unbelievable. And this guy, as you well know, Ant, he competes. This guy doesn't miss starts. I mean, him and Wheeler are going to have they're going to be close to 200 innings. You don't see that anymore.
No,
guys don't
you don't.
200 innings.
It's funny. I got a buddy of mine, Boo, and the other night when he gave up the 2 3-run homers against the Mets, he's going Nola, and I go, dude. Listen. I look at, and I gave him the innings pitched, hits allowed, strikeouts. Right. He has more strikeouts than hits allowed, and less, and obviously more innings. It's not a 1-to-1. It's below one hit per inning ratio. I'm like, look at that. Look at the number of innings he's given you. You got to judge him over a full season. And he just
and the other
thing,
year. The other thing, Ant, knock on wood, he never goes on the IL. This guy posts every 5th day. He's out there. I have no idea why. I get sometimes people get a little discouraged because he'll give up some home runs. You throw so many strikes, he's going to give up some home runs.
You're around the
but
plate.
The fact that he doesn't go on the IL, and I can't remember him as long as he's been here. I'm sure he's gone 1 or 2 times, but for the most part, this guy posts up. And as a manager, as a coaching staff, as a city, there's going to be 2 guys that go out there every 5th day, and they're going to take you into the 7th or 8th. I think our record last night, if I'm not mistaken, It was 34-0 when our starting pitchers went into the 7th inning. Last night was the first loss, which is incredible. I mean, and these guys
That's
been going
tremendous.
deep all year. So, I'm looking forward a big time Red October run here. I really am.
Yeah, I am
I
too.
just there's the only team, if somebody had to say what team would you be concerned about a little bit, I have to say San Diego right now. Their bullpen is lights out. They're swinging the bats good.
Yeah,
I'm not
Tatis
worried
is
about.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Dodgers. Their pitching is. They got too many injuries. Atlanta might not even get in.
They're right.
And the Mets. The Mets could prove to be, but I don't know how strong their pitching is, Ant. Their bullpen's
Nah.
not real good. I'm
I
not
mean,
worried about that.
Peterson,
Yeah,
McGill,
I'm
like,
not.
these
Not worried
guys
about
aren't
that.
like you don't.
I
You're
think
not coming out with. Look at Wheeler, right? Look, you mentioned Wheeler. I mean, he has been such a horse. He's tremendous. He's almost underrated. He has
Oh yeah,
pitched so well and so dominant. Like he had when he's on the mound, I almost feel like it's Halliday like.
it is. Yeah, and the other thing is when you see a pitcher get out there and he's facing a good big league lineup and the count's 2-0 or 3-1, and everybody in the park knows it's going to be a fastball, they don't hit him. He's
Right.
got great life, and if they do put it in play, it's soft contact. This guy, I just can't believe, and I know it's been a while, but I can't believe, according to the most reports, the Mets didn't even offer him a contract.
I
That
know.
baffles me. That baffles me with an arm like that. But I'm glad they didn't, because that's we're going to ride him into the sunset. There's no question about that. This guy, he's electric, and I'm like you. When he's out there, man, if you get 2 runs quick, that you can almost put a lid on it. That game might be over. And
Yes.
I just hope. I know Sale's having an unbelievable year. It's going to be between those two. I don't like seeing anybody get lit up, but Sale's pitching today. He needs to have a bump in the road here, because if you look at his numbers, they're a little bit, not a lot, a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
ahead of Wheeler in every category, every single
Yeah.
category.
Yeah.
So it'd be not the only thing that will be different. And this is what I take into consideration. Just say Atlanta doesn't get in and we get in. That's got to factor in here now for
Sure.
Cy Young. Without Wheeler, we might not get in. I'm as good a team as we have. You take Wheeler out of that rotation, and I'm sure Atlanta feels the same way with all their injuries. Without Sale, they're way out of it. So it's going to be up to the voters. But I wouldn't mind seeing Sale give up 4 or 5 runs today. They're playing a day game in Atlanta, or in Cincinnati, I should say, and then that would maybe open the door for Wheels.
Is that a Bowa prediction?
I am making a prediction.
Yeah.
I'm saying that Wheeler is going to continue his dominance over the National League hitters, and I just think Sale's going to hit a bump in the road in these last 7 or 8 games they have left.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it. Bo, let's look at the lineup and what were you and Charlie talking about lineup wise? It seems to be like a perfect. They got out of the funk. Bryce is hitting home runs now for power, and we knew it was a matter of time. Just the ball, like he was stinging the ball, so it was a matter of time before he was going to get lift, and those things were going to go. I kind of like where the lineup is right now, and kind of the state of it.
I like our lineup. Harp. Not everyone. A lot of people are saying he needs more home runs, but he's hitting the ball good right now.
Yeah.
And you know what? As you well know, when that red light goes on with Harp and the playoffs start, it's hard to say he takes it to another level, but he does. He's one of those players that if he comes in and says, "Get on my back, and I'm going to take us to the promised land," you get on his back, because he's that dominant when he gets in that batter's box. It looks like Trey's starting to swing it. Bohm got a big homer last night. Castellanos has had a good second half.
Man,
mean, real good second half.
Home run the other night, 21 home runs. I mean,
he's gonna be at the
Run
20 to
producing.
25 and 80 to 100. It doesn't matter how he starts. He always seems to hit those numbers. And he's played very good in the outfield for us. Schwarb's been unbelievable all year. This guy's been consistent. I see Stott starting to swing it. JT's swinging it. I like our line. I like where we're at right now. I like our bullpen where they're at. I
Even
don't
March
see
is swinging a better bat.
Marsh.
But
Marsh is really a strong dude, man. He hits balls the other way. And we have, if you have to platoon out there that against a tough lefty, I think Thompson's not at all concerned about that. What keeps us going right now, and we went into a little funk. Every kid that we called up from the minor leagues, they responded, man. We got big hits from guys.
well, I want to ask you about that, right? Because there was the name Keith Moreland that came up back in the
Yep.
day on your team, and
Right.
he looked really good. Bob Walk came at young players.
Lonnie Smith.
Lonnie
Came.
Smith. Like,
Yep.
what is it about that youth who play roles on a really World Series contender? How vital is that? And and is it a tribute to the clubhouse that makes an atmosphere conducive for them to achieve?
I think you hit it right on the head. It's the clubhouse, and Schwarb's one of the guys that everybody that comes in there, I mean, he's unbelievable. This guy is a true leader, and he gets help with Harp and JT. But these guys come in and they see, we have some superstar players in that lineup, and they come in really loose and everything because they're saying, hey, whatever I do is icing on the cake. The big boys will take care of the heavy load, but they're relaxed when they come up here. And I think that has a lot to do with Tom's too. The manager,
Yes.
he
Yes.
his communication skills are off the charts. He lets them know when they're going to play, who they're going to play against. He tells them in the third or fourth inning. I've been down there where in the third or fourth inning, say heads up in the sixth inning. If this guy's in, be ready. I mean, he's on top of everything. And I think that looseness in the clubhouse and, of course, the communication with the staff. We have good coaches as well as Tom's being the manager. It's a perfect storm right now. And I just don't want us to do what we did last year as far as getting into a funk the last two games against Arizona, swinging at everything in the dirt. I don't see that happening. I think we've been on a mission since the first day of spring training. I've heard the comments from spring training on. We owe people, this not us, that wasn't us against Arizona. And they've been on a mission, and hopefully they can continue this mission into October.
It's funny. I'm glad you brought up Thompson because he gets overly criticized. I mean, listen, it's part of the job, right? So,
right.
Like he knows it, it better than anybody.
Right.
Like you're a manager,
Right.
you're going to get criticized. But I think he gets overly criticized with it, and I think people don't realize how important his demeanor, his calmness, and what that projects, and how he communicates with his players. I just think there's a good connection there.
There's no question. And you know what? He learned from one of the best with Joe Torre. Joe Torre is unbelievable. I got a chance to coach for Joe.
You work with him,
yeah. You talk about a super guy. And I know Rob learned a lot from Joe. You never see Joe lose his cool. He's always even keel. He knows what he wants to do. And Thompson's the same way. He knows what he wants to do. Everything is prepared. He doesn't come in there at 4 o'clock and says, he's there at 10:30 or 11 in the morning going through all the analytic stuff and everything. He knows exactly what he's doing. I think if you had to say there was a fault, I don't consider it a fault, but a lot of people do. He really takes care of these guys health-wise. He does not want to, use a reliever 3 days in a row, and I'm sure when push comes to shove, if we're down going into getting ready to get into a World Series game or something, and he's got to use somebody 3 days in a row, he'll do it.
Right.
But for the most part, on this long haul, the 162 games, he's taking care of every one of these guys, whether it's an everyday player, whether it's a starting pitcher, a relief pitcher. He's done a tremendous job in keeping everybody focused and healthy, and I think that's a big part of our success. Dave Dombrowski's put together a good roster. There's no question about that. And, people say, Tom's had a push-button team. Sometimes it's not that easy to manage a bunch of great players. Sometimes you have 1 or 2 guys you take care of. We got 5 or 6 guys that you consider outstanding players. And to keep them all satisfied, that's a tough job at times. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, look how he handled the whole Bryce situation when he thought he hit the home run, didn't run out the ball.
Right.
And, it's funny because when he came to the dugout and you saw the exchange, right? Like, all Topper gives him a look like, dude, like, come on.
Right.
And then Bryce is like, my bad. Like, he knew it. He also knew, like, He knows that Bryce is harder than anything on himself. There was
Right.
nothing punitive to be done, but you got to give him a look like, dude, come on, man.
Right. He did. He gave him a look. And I've also been down there where he's called somebody into his office. It might not be in the newspaper
Right.
or on
Right.
on a video or anything like that. He gets his point across, and not in a sarcastic way. He's just telling you that this is not how we play here.
Yeah.
And you know what? And if you're tired or something, I'll get you out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Give you a blow here and there. We play the game the right way, and he's got those guys. They're focused on what they have to do, and unless somebody gets hurt on our team, I don't see any roadblocks here. I don't. I just, if there's a team that I'm a little concerned about, it is San Diego. But
Yeah.
we've taken care of business with them every time we've played them. So I don't see anybody in the National League really getting in our way here.
How about it, BJ?
Ready to go.
There it is.
Hey, Larry, with the Austin Hayes situation, is that something you think he is going to be on the playoff roster with Weston Wilson playing the way he's been playing?
You know, that's a great call, great question. You know, something happened with, I think it's his kidneys or something. And I was talking to him before they went on the road trip. He says, everything feels heavy. My legs feel heavy. I can't run real good. And hopefully he's okay, because he was doing a pretty good job out there. But Wilson's done, every guy we've called up, Wilson, Clemens, those guys do a good job. Sosa, when you put him in, it's just a good close knit. Yeah. I mean, but it'd be nice to have him available. But you know, he's missed some time, so I don't know how sharp he's going to be. And if he can get into these games here, maybe the last 4 or 5, maybe not in New York, but we got 6 coming up after New York. We play, I think, the Cubs 3, and then we go to Washington. If he can get some at bats there, and then they can make their decision as to, hey, he looks okay, or maybe we should keep him off the first roster. So they got some maneuverability there, but it'd be nice to see him back in the lineup here.
I gotta laud you because, and you won't do it, so I need to do it. But you're going to be at McGee spreading cheer. And that's a beautiful thing. First of all, McGee Rehab, they do God's work over there. And you're going to go pay a visit, and just your energy and positive spirit. I mean, I love you. I love that.
You know what, Anthony? Sometimes we get caught up in our own little world, and we don't see what's going on around us. And if we can go, like Charlie and I are going, if we can go there for an hour and a half, and just see smiles on people's faces, because they love the Phillies. They love the Phillies.
Love the Phillies.
And you get in there and you talk baseball with them, and they forget about their troubles, and it puts things in proper perspective for us that hey, you know what? We both had a great life. And to go out there and spread some cheer around and talk to guys, I think that means a lot to them. And if we can do that,
you're sick, right? And you're recovering, and rehab, and all things. You know, baseball's beautiful for that because it's every day, right? Something to look forward to as you're trying to heal and you're bedridden or whatever you're doing. Like that, oh man, thank God the game's coming on. It gives you something to look forward to. It's the beauty of baseball.
Yeah, and these guys, the men and women that we talk to, they can hardly wait till game time. They got TVs there. They're talking about the Phillies. They'll be talking about the playoffs. Just to see them maybe get their mind off what's happening with them, because the people in there, it's a tough road for a lot of them. I mean, they're rehabbing, and if we can just walk through there and sign a couple autographs and talk baseball, hey, if we can make their day better, that's what it's all about.
You're the man, brother. I love that. But you two, I mean, you two together are just a dream. Talk about dream team.
How is it not a documentary series?
I swear to God, we're doing that show with the 3 of us. We have to do that. All right,
we will.
We got to do it. Okay,
that'd be a great show.
It would be. Like forget. I'll stay out of your way. I just want to be.
No. We need you in there because we know you. We know you covered baseball a long time. A lot of times we talk baseball and somebody don't know what they're talking about. And Charlie and I are start looking out the side of our eyes saying, I don't know about this, Chuck. I don't know. But when you talk to people that know baseball, it's fun. You start talking, before you know it, you're talking baseball for 2 hours. You say, oh man, I got to get going. But it's fun.
I will.
We hash over everything. There
was nothing better. walking into your office or what, like you brought up Tori. When I was in New York and I would go visit you guys and just listen. There was nothing better than just listening to you because this is where you learn to get, like a guy like me. I'm like, oh my God, man, listen to this knowledge. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, last night we were talking in between pitches, like, come on, he's got to put this ball in play. Come on. Then last night, Charlie goes, high fastball here. I'll strike this guy out. Sure enough, no, I don't know if it was, it might have been, Noli. Went up top with a high fastball, swung and missed. And Chuck, give me that elbow. He says, I told you. So, he knows a lot about hitting. Believe me, he knows about hitting.
Oh, yeah. So, hey, last thing. What about the Birds? What's Bo Adamas say about the Eagles?
I was mad. I'm going to be honest with you. And again, I love what the sports teams in Philly.
Yep.
And I know that the pass should have been caught. I get all that. And I'm just screaming at, just run the ball here.
Yes.
Just let the clock keep ticking and ticking and ticking. And then you get 4th and 1, you can do the tush push. And then by then, what is there, 25, 30 seconds left?
Exactly.
I'm not second guessing anything, but even as it unfolded, I'm saying just run the ball. Don't even think about stopping the clock. But they got a big test this Sunday, man. I've watched New Orleans is tough. I don't know what they came out of nowhere.
Dallas, wow, mamma mia. Yeah,
Dallas is like.
It's our first moment.
I'm tired of hearing about Dallas. Dallas is going to be where they're supposed to be come Super Bowl time. They'll be watching just like I'm watching.
Yeah, yes, brother. We love you. You're the best, buddy.
All right, maybe we can wrap this thing up tonight, or at best tomorrow. So. We keep our fingers crossed here.
I love it. And Ciel gets lit up today. Let's go.
All right, Ant. Okay.
See you, buddy. There's the great Bye-bye. Larry Bowa.
What we need, like the Manning cast, but with Bowa and Charlie for
Oh,
Phillies
my God.
games.
Well, those two, I saw the picture last night. I was texting with Charlie. I'm like, those guys together are ridiculous. Yeah. They're just, all the couch. I mean, it's the best. I mean, there's awesome. Not I wish I should have told you, Andrew, to get the picture of him, because there was a picture of him. I should have told you to put it on the screen.
Sorry, matey.
I don't know what that was, but yeah, I mean, he's the greatest. He's absolutely the best.
Hey, can I just say I was stuck in the hospital for a bit after a car accident.
Yeah, you know it.
And to have Bowa or Charlie walk in that door in the middle of the day would be insane.
I mean,
insane. I get chills thinking about it.
Let me just give a yo to McGee.
Yeah.
And what those incredible people. They're angels. Like, we talk about the healthcare system, and in Philadelphia, we're blessed to have incredible healthcare, right? McGee, University of Pennsylvania, Children's Hospital, like incredible facilities. And those people are angels, man. I mean, our friend Adam Taliaferro, has spent, after that catastrophic injury, learned to walk again at McGee, got his life back at McGee, thanks to those, men and women, those angels on earth.
Must have them, cuz.
Yep. All right, JP, do us a favor. Tell us about some Ace and some Empire.
I know. It's like the two things that all of our sports fans probably don't want to hear, because I know their wives or their partners are telling them, hey, we need that new floor, or hey, we need a new roof. Listen, that pipe is leaking. Nothing's worse than leaky pipe, maybe a leaky defense. But if you have anything in your house that you may need, your local neighborhood Ace Hardware is the place to go. I know I'm going to be heading down there this weekend. And listen, the problem is this weekend is that, look, we're not on Friday night. We're not on Monday night. We're back on the 1 o'clock slate here this upcoming Sunday. So you got to hurry it up and get that stuff done on Saturday or Friday afternoon. So make sure you guys are heading over to Ace Hardware. Got a leaky pipe at Ace Hardware Home Services. They're right around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to fix it. Listen, don't trust me. My wife knows to not trust me with anything around the house. So I like to rely on those professionals that Ace Hardware provides, because look, just like you probably don't want to do it either. So it's helpful to have it. But if you want to do it yourself, they have everything that you need as well. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com, and you can get your next project started here today. Even that man cave that you've been talking about as well, you can do that all as well. And in that man cave,
saw an Ace last night on the mound.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Ace got to get wheels.
Yeah.
To be there.
Yeah.
And how Nola was good last night.
That is
Just like Bowa said. Listen, he was good last
See
night.
his stats and
Boo said I was waiting for that because I texted him.
these
his
postseason
line.
clinchers. Have you seen a stat in the last 3 years in postseason clinchers? Nola's pitched 20 innings, 9 hits, 2 earned runs, 26 Ks with a 0.90 ERA.
cool.
Damn.
Almost as good as Empire Today and
Empire.
their flooring. Empire Today. And with Empire Today, ladies and gents, you get to shop at home convenience with the right products for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get that new flooring. So, of course, they have copycats, but they can't beat Empire Today on quality, service, speed. So you advertise low-quality products that Empire Today simply will not carry. Empire Today won't promise you lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in their home that they wouldn't put in theirs. And that's not what they're all about. They're about quality, ladies and gentlemen. So, listen, stop staring at that ugly floor, all right? Schedule an appointment here today. Get a free in-home estimate. All of our listeners today, listen to this, a $350 off discount. It's $350? That's insane, all right? So when you use the promo code PHLY, you will be able to get that. Keep in mind, restrictions do apply. Visit empiretoday.com/PHLY for more details. And of course, thank you to our friends at Empire
Today.
I love it.
I like it. This portion of the program brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. That's right, the Bet Parks. Now joining us, the analyst for the Bet Parks Sportsbook online casino app, the one, the only, the Brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
Is he underwater?
Hello, Brain. Where are you, Brain? Brain, I just see a black screen.
We just lost them.
What was that?
This cosplay dude.
Cosplay. He is a cosplay guy. He's built cosplay.
Hey, you had a. Oh, there he is. Never mind.
I had a what?
I had a little filler. Like you guys were talking about call ups and stuff,
Yeah.
young players. Dude, I just went back. I was like, what about Marty Bystrom? You remember him?
Marty Bystrom.
Dude, he
5-0.
He
5-0
came
in
up.
Bob
September
Walk,
and
Marty
October.
Dude, he
Bystrom.
came up September 7th. Had the record
5-0.
for the fewest regular season games before starting the World Series. 6.
Wow.
He was a stud back
He
then on that
was.
run.
We were talking about it we had Larry Bowa on, Brad, and we were talking about like the importance of those young players making contributions, right?
Sure, of course.
And you remember Keith Moreland one year,
Moreland, wow.
right? Lonnie Smith. He brought up Marty Bystrom, Bob Walk, like all those guys made contributions.
Yeah, 100%. I love hearing these names from the past, but I remember, Marty Bystrom. Yeah, I remember he went 5-0, and then
He had the good red hair.
Yeah,
great. Yeah, and the hair was like sticking out, like when you had the. I loved it, man. Oh man, those were the days, man. Those were the days. At least I loved.
Well, you know what it is like. It's why we both love sports. Is so all these names, man. It's just there is something special. Like it's funny. I made this statement yesterday, and I think you would agree. Like I still love sports as much as I've ever done. Like I just love it. Like it's why. Look, 2 weeks into the season, it's not like, come on, man. I don't want to just stick a fork in the Eagles. Like let it play out a little bit. All right, you wait all year long for football. Like we don't need to barbecue it already. Like to barbecue the season. But you mentioned these names from the past. Doesn't matter. NBA, NHL, football, baseball, and your mind automatically goes back to either Gene Hart at the Spectrum, right? A Sunday afternoon at the Vet, right? Like listening to Whitey and Harry, or Sixers on a Wednesday night from Atlanta, right, on Channel 48.
The Omni.
Yeah, Dominique Wilkins, right? Flyers was incredible. Like those Sunday night Flyer games at the Spectrum at 7:00, or Thursday night at 7:00. I mean, it was the best. Like there was all those guys coming in,
But I remember, Gene Hart and Bobby Tower announcing all the games. I used to remember like that. The Chief. That's right, man. I mean, oh man, yeah. And of course, I mean, obviously, Whitey and Harry Callis was like, look, I was lucky. Like growing up, I got to see some of the best broadcasters of all time. I mean,
Neil
Harry
Funk?
Callis to me was
Remember Neil Funk?
Oh my God, do I remember Neil Funk? I dream of the guy.
Bell high dribble. Andrew with the bell high dribble.
Neil Funk, oh my God. Oh, that was a great one. Neil Funk. Oh, that was tremendous. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I remember all of it. Oh my God, Neil Funk.
And then Sundays, like,
do you remember?
Dude, Sundays during football, especially they would get dark, and you got a blanket. You're cozy watching the game. Doesn't matter what game it is. You're watching. Forget it doesn't have to be Eagles. And then it's the late game, right? So it's the 4:00 game, and invariably they would have a promo for 60 minutes, and you would hear the tick, 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 tick. And I used to hate that freaking sound. I hated 60 minutes more than anything.
Oh my God, we're the same person because I used to despise 60 minutes when I heard that tick, tick, tick. Oh, it's the worst.
School was coming.
Yes!
School was coming.
Sunday night.
That's exactly right. School was coming.
Because there was no Sunday night football back then.
Yeah, it was the worst. Oh my God.
I hated it.
Weekend over.
Yes. Monday, go back to school. Oh, it was the freaking worst.
You're right, though. It's funny. Like people who are a little younger than us don't know it, but that's exactly how it was. And
to this day, that sound is a complete turnoff to me. Like I won't watch that. I like news magazine shows. I will never go near it. I'm scarred from childhood.
It's like the opposite of Pavlov's bell, right? Like you hear that noise, it's like instead of coming, I'm just like, oh my God. No, I'm the same way. Hand on the Bible, no joke, no exaggeration. Exactly what you said. Exactly. I grew up with that. I felt that. I lived that. So that's why I'm smiling. I had the exact same thoughts, dude. I really did.
Well, you know what? And it was funny because you went from, day to night, and it was that Sunday. You're like, you love football. You hate it when it ended, right? Like, so when the day's games, that's the beauty of Sunday Night Football is that you still got another game. Like that's big.
The best, though, and tell me if you agree, was when Brett Marshberg would say, "We're looking live at Veterans Day," like that. When he would say, "We're looking live,"
NFL
like
Today.
The NFL Today with their.
I used to beg my father I'd be like, "Yo, let's leave commute," because we would go to like 12:00 mass or 11:30 mass, wherever it was. And I'm like, let's leave early after communion.
At communion or
after get communion and roll out. All right? Because I wanted to see Brad, and it was so good. It was a genius move. I talked to Brent about that, and it was so smart. They were doing it for gamblers, right? So they could see the weather. So
I never knew that.
They would go to all these live look-ins and let's go live to RFK Stadium, sold out, where the wind is whipping, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Points will be on a premium, right? And that was a cue for gamblers to bet the under.
Well, I never knew that. That's amazing. No, it's funny because it's funny. It used to be back in that day, back in there, you couldn't. I mean, I know they had Jimmy the Greek on, but you really couldn't. Gambling was considered something you really couldn't really discuss on air. Now it's become so mainstream. It's like part of like drinking water. But back then it wasn't like that. And I mean, but yeah, that is so interesting that that's what they actually did. I did not know that. It's a great.
Yeah, it's completely fascinating.
I'm Steve Cross.
I'm Leslie. Oh my God!
There it was. It's like it feels like it's
horrible.
And a pen stabbing you in the back.
Oh, it's like being nagged by.
No, 60 minutes. No, I don't want to go to bed.
Time to take a bath.
Take a bath. Oh, get that the worst. Horrible. Hey, let me ask you. A lot of talk about the Birds, and suddenly the narrative is we should not look at them as a playoff team, as a contender anymore, which I think is a little bit of an overreaction. Let me ask you, futures-wise, how do you project the Eagles?
Well, look, again, I think their season win total now is down to 10.5. It was 11.5. Look, I think I have a decent pulse of the team. I've been And look, I think the offense when A.J. Brown is there, Anthony, is going to be extremely good.
Yes.
Extremely good. Like, I think potentially has a chance to be the best in the NFL. I'd go that far. So for me to say they're not a playoff team, I'm not going there. Now, again, the defense to me has been horrible. But I will say this here, to make everyone feel a little bit better, Anthony, do you remember the year that Peyton Manning won his one Super Bowl in Indianapolis? If you do remember that year, the Indianapolis Colts run defense, I never forget, the last like 8 games of the year, they were giving up like 150 yards a game. They couldn't stop the worst running back in football from getting 100 yards. Then the playoffs started. I don't know what happened. They became like, they got Bob Sanders back. I guess that was part of it. But they became like an elite. They started playing really good on defense. When they showed nothing, the year Denver won the Super Bowl when they beat Green Bay, they couldn't stop anyone defensively. And then they started playing better towards the end of the year, too. So I always remember these things in my head to say, all right, things can change. As much as you think something is just etched in stone, teams can still win the Super Bowl when something looked a certain way, and it really looked a certain way, and they were able to overcome it. So I would say this.
I was funny. I was texting with Spags the other day. We were talking about his first year with the Giants, 2007. They start out 0-2. He gave up 45 to Dallas and 35 to Green Bay. And I remember talking to him after that. He was freaking out. Like, oh, my God. Like, dude, like, I may not last a year. Like, that was – and you know, it takes time, guys, especially when we have a new DC. And I know they've played a variation of Fangio's system, but it's still a different coach.
Well, Anthony, but here's the thing, and I think you guys would agree with me on this. If I said to you one of the two things is going to happen, the Eagles' offense is going to regress into an average offense, or the defense goes into at least an average defense, I would say there's a far better chance the defense to become average. And by the way, all they need is an average defense. With this offense, if it's healthy, they don't need some 85 Bears defense. If they're just average, this team should be really good. Yes. So I would say there's a much better chance you're going to get that than of the Eagles' offense regressing. Because I actually think the Eagles' offense has so many good players that I'd be really surprised if they're not really good, assuming they're healthy. Again, obviously, A.J. Brown lost. Again, I think you saw, even though they were successful on Monday night, I think you saw not having that dominant alpha guy out there really did make a difference, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, dude, I completely agree. And I mean, if you're an Eagle fan, you just got to hope that some of the young players take a step. I mean, that's the good thing is that you're dealing with youth. Now, the bad thing is, like, I don't see Huff making any kind of strides. Josh Sweat, we've been asking for years. They finally had a step-up season. He hasn't had it. You know, BG, God bless his heart, he's had
a great career though.
Exactly.
It's at the end. It's exactly right, and it's interesting. Again, it's just so interesting, you guys. You look at it just 2 years ago with the 75 sacks they had, or whatever it was, NFL record, and they, just like, if it wasn't for that, I still always will. I got to ask you guys a question. It's funny. One thing I'll always wonder, I always will wonder. I'll never know the answer. If they played that Super Bowl against Kansas City in any other stadium in the world, any other stadium besides that bad field they had where no one could keep their cleats on, I'm wondering if that game would have been different, because that was the only game all year their defensive line did absolutely squadoosh, and they couldn't get anything. And now, in fairness, the Chiefs had the same exact thing. That's why you saw 38-35. You saw 73 points. But I always will wonder if that game was played in any other stadium, would we have seen a relatively easy Eagles win? I kind of think we would have, but I guess I'll never know that.
Yeah. No, it's a great point.
Hey, Brad, we got the chat's got some hockey question. Are you high on Michkov to win the Calder?
Well, obviously, look, the hype on him has been absolutely off the charts. And I heard you guys had, when you had Jonesy on, and again, he seemed to be, equally as high on him. Look, I think he's the favorite, right?
He is.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
he's at plus 350, and I guess Calabrini's at plus 450.
Yeah, so he's getting the respect, but again, it seems like from everything that I heard and gleaned that he seems to be the real deal. Now, is plus 350 worth it? That's hard to say, because obviously there's, you don't. I would say out of all the sports, NHL is the hardest in terms of knowing what rookies are going to be the best, because I think we have the least data on that, as opposed to there's so much stuff with MLB who the best rookies are going to be. The NFL draft is so hyped, the NBA draft is so hyped. I think hockey, for at least me, is probably the hardest to know what the quote unquote VG, what the fair odds should be. But from everything I'm understanding, I think he does deserve to be the favorite. And look, I think the Flyers, hopefully, finally, looks like they have a chance to be on a good path again going forward, which has been a while. And this has obviously been a great fan base for many years that supported the Flyers like no one else. So I would love to see it. And, hopefully.
I'm fired up, dude. I got to tell you.
They hit the ice today.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. And listen, it's not like I'm going Stanley Cup. This is the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's the beginning.
Of the ride up, right?
Yeah.
This is like you finally you've drafted, like, so you got Meetskoff here. He's like Embiid, right? Like you got a player to watch, right? You got some young players around him. So this is the beginning of the ride, is how I look at it.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And it really should. And and again, obviously you're friends with the guy and whatnot, but to me, and again, I could be wrong, but Keith Jones to me seems like a smart man, like a guy who knows the sport, a guy who knows what he's doing.
I can divorce myself. I know a lot. I mean, listen, you're in sports. I know a million people, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's people I root for, and there's people I go, not.
Yeah, of course.
But most of the time, there's a lot of people I root for, and they may make mistakes or whatever. But I look at him. And I go, I think he's sharp, man. I do.
Yeah,
as much
I
as
feel the same
funny and
exactly
you know him as that, but I think he's a great hockey man. I really do.
I think they have the right guy in here running things. That's exactly right. And I just have a lot of faith and trust in him. And I just think he's measured. He's smart. He's not emotional, overly emotional. And so I say that as a positive. I just think he's I just like the guy. Again, I think that they're in good hands, and I think the elevator's going up, not down. Clearly.
All right. So let me ask you this. So, actually, at this point, give me. What do you have? Anything today?
Yeah, I do.
What about the game tonight, New England and the Jets?
I'm going to the game. Tonight. Got invited by a Michigan buddy of mine to the game, so
nice.
Shout out for inviting me. But I really like. It's my best game of the week. I really. I'm going to add 10 more reallys without saying I like the Jets here. I know we've seen two really good performances from New England. They got the outright win against Cincinnati, which they deserved to win, by the way. It was not a fluke. And then they played Seattle to a 50-50 game. They could have gone either way. I watched the entire game. They did play well, and the Jets have not looked good in either game. But I'm just going to go by my power ratings a little bit, and in terms of I still think this Jets team is just far more talented than New England. I still think New England's going to finish 4-13. I still think the Jets are going to win double-digit games. And I'm going to call this one 31-10. I think we're going to see an easy route for the Jets.
Pizza
bet! No, this is not a pizza bet. This is not a pizza bet. This is my biggest NFL bet of the year so far. I can buy 20,000 pizzas.
Sounds like those guys Saturday morning.
Biggest
bet of the year.
I could buy the pizza shop with the bet I put on this. Okay, this is more than the pizza bet. Okay, this is buying the franchise. This is pretty close. Yeah, pretty close to a Bitcoin. So this is a big bet for me. This is a big bet for me.
So what number you got? I like this off Bet Parks.
-6. Look again. I thought this line. I made this line closer to 8. So we'll see. I'll take my medicine if I'm wrong. But I think they get it. And then Chris Sale tonight, guys. 20-8 over 6.5 strikeouts. The Reds strike out a ton. Tariq Skubal hurt my feelings yesterday. Did not compete. He only gave up 1 run. Had too many strikeouts and walks. Didn't get to 6 innings. But I do think that Chris Sale gets his 7 strikeouts tonight against the Cincinnati team that strikes out a lot.
So Bowa has said Sale gets rocked today.
Well, I hope well, it's funny. I'll tell you this. I have a bet, guys. I bet before the year Tariq Skubal, I think it's 70-1 to lead the league in wins. I think he's tied with Sale right now. So I've been following this bet all year. I bet.
Oh my God, 70-1.
On it. It was like $300.
You're out of your mind. That's awesome.
It was a good bet.
Yeah.
And it's him and Sale are I think now tied. So I would like Sale to get 7 strikeouts and give up 10 runs.
All right.
Get out of the game, but we'll see. Hopefully.
All right. Good luck with your suitcase. Good luck with your suitcase bet. At BradsBestBets.com.
You got it, brother. You're the man. I'll take you. Good luck, man.
See you, buddy.
You are looking live at Cowboys Stadium. You are looking live at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
Oh man, that was. How can the
Goosebumps.
Jets game lose tonight? That steams me off on a good note. I know I'm going to win this bet. I hear if you played the 60 minutes, I know I was going to lose. The Jets, that the Brett Musburger live, send me off on that note. Not that 60-minute stuff you did earlier.
Love it. Thanks, Brain. There he is, the Brain. He is our analyst, Bet Parks Sportsbook Casino app. He's the analyst for Bet Parks. Don't forget, Brain told you Thursday Night Football on the Bet Parks app. Gangrene 6-point home favorites over New England. Brain says, just lay it.
I don't know.
He's talking of Bitcoin.
For the record, Bitcoin is at 62,000 right now.
What?
So you're telling me he's putting 50 grand on
close to, I bet he's at 50.
Insane. I don't know, cuz
He's putting $50,000 on the Jets
that's
tonight.
been wrong though. That's the thing.
No, God bless him, man. 50,000.
That's a lot of coin.
That's coming from a man who likes to steal coins, pillage, and take your coins.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Hey, so don't forget the New Orleans 3-point favorite over the Birds now. Over on their 39, which appears really light to me.
39? Is that what you said?
That's what it said. That's what it says here.
That is light because the Steelers and Chargers is only at 36.
It has to be 49. Maybe it's a typo.
I got 49 on Bet Parks right now.
49.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you see, it says 39 here. Bet more than just a score. Bet player TDs, rushing, passing yards, sacks, interceptions, you name it. And again, Thursday Night Football with the Jets and Brad's big bet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so keep an eye on that tonight. And then we said that Sale gives up runs. You could bet that. The Bowa play so that Wheeler gets the Cy Young. The only online sports book that I recommend and use, Bet Parks, has your seat also with live dealers for your favorite classic casino games right on your phone. Play live dealer blackjack, craps, roulette, you name it while you're watching the game. Bet on all your favorite sports. Make your downtime fun time. Download the Bet Parks app right now. Enjoy the action, excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Hundreds of exciting online slots, including the new Peaky Blinders slot game. Oh, I love the Peaky Blinders.
I hope it features the music of Nick Cave, which is the opening theme
Yes,
song.
that's fantastic. New users download the Bet Parks online casino app and get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
Tell you what, I'm going to bet later on. I'm waiting for it to come out. This Taiwan strikeout number. It's redemption day. They clinch on a Taiwan
I love
That'd
it.
be insane.
I love
dude.
it. I love it. Coming up, you're going to tell us about Glat.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a new feature. I love it. From the editor's desk. Coming up in just a moment, our man, Pat McLoone, former sports editor of the Daily News. He's each week going to give us the biggest headlines in Philadelphia sports. So that's coming up in a minute. But first, Glat.
Glat Hair Restoration. Glat Hair Restoration is now run by Morgenstern Medical. Dr. Morgenstern, well, this was established by the late Dr. Glat, and it's now part of the Morgenstern Center. And Dr. Morgenstern is a nationally recognized specialist and among the few surgeons in the country who is trained in oculofacial plastic surgery and facial cosmetic surgery. Under his direction, they're going to move forward, and Dr. Glat and Morgenstern shared a remarkable bond that spanned many years as colleagues and friends, from collaborating on critical research studies to working together in the operating room. Now, what makes Glat Hair Restoration better? Well, you get the same peerless approach to care, same expert team, same unmatched Glat system, same state-of-the-art location, and same stellar results. Each member of his exceptionally trained team brings 30-plus years of industry experience. Hair restoration is all they do. Glat Hair can help during all stages of hair loss with leading-edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy, non-invasive TED treatments, and vitamin supplementation. Each patient receives complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment, and patient advocates work with you from the first phone call to the last follow-up. Glat Hair isn't just about restoration, it's about innovation. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glad Hair is the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit gladhairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
Love it. All right, pumped up. This portion of the program brought to us by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the credit union difference, truemark.com/PHLY. Now, joining us for this week's headlines, the former editor of the Daily News. We love him, the great Philadelphian that he is. There he is, Pat McLoone.
Hey, Pat.
Well, boys, Anthony, you really haven't lived until you've heard VG do a great ad read like that.
Appreciate
He's great
it.
at it,
Coming
right?
from a wise expert like you, that's a compliment.
JP, how are you?
I'm doing great, Pat. Better that you're here now.
So I love this, man. I deployed you because there's no better newsman than you. You were always the greatest, man. I had this conversation the other day with my cousin about the Friday Daily News and the Monday Daily News, and how there was nothing better to dive in to get you excited for the game than the Friday Daily News. And then if they won, nothing better to read about it on Monday.
There was a lot of pages between the back page of the Daily News until the porno ads where everything kind of petered out there.
And Vegas Vic.
Yes. We made sure Vegas got better. We didn't put him back there by the tire ads and stuff like that. That was fast facts, and poor Bernie Fernandez got a lot of boxing back there. But then again,
there was boxing back there.
Bernie got a lot of back pages too when he was covering big fights. So
yes. Yeah, I loved it. I love it. So, all right, each week you're going to dive into the week's biggest headlines in Philadelphia sports. Did you? How did the back page get done? Because there was nothing better than the back page headlines of the Daily News. Like, they were always clever and quippy. How did that process work?
There were a lot of really great headline writers back there, and two of the three best are still there. Joe Berkery still does the front page, and Doug Darrick was really the brains behind the back page headlines. Doug's still there. There's also a guy, Drew McQuaid, who did the layout, who did a fabulous job with it. But using Doug as the example, I tried to do it back in the day when I was on the desk, but I couldn't write the headlines. But what I really enjoyed a lot of times, Anthony, in a big game is Doug would break out a legal pad and he'd put down 30 headlines, and 28 of them would be great. And 15 of them we could have actually put in the paper, because you could imagine some of the stuff that was there that even the Daily News now.
Yeah.
So what I got to do was make the call about what the great headline was on those nights. Now, most nights, Doug and Caesar Alsop and people, they did that when I wasn't there. But I always enjoyed on a big Eagles game or a big playoff game where you stayed in the office at night, that Doug would come up with these various headlines, and, you would be like, hey, that's the one. That's the one. I mean, I think back about one year when the Flyers were playing, they had Roman Czechmanek in the goal, and they got just destroyed. And just the way Doug's mind works is they lost the game on May 5th. And so that's where Doug came up with they lost 6-0 in a playoff game. Might have been
the Buffalo. They lost to Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the game.
Yeah.
It was the same day as the Eagles draft.
Okay.
It was Saturday. It was a Saturday.
Anyway, it was on May 5th. So Doug's headline was Stinko DeFlyo off of the Stinko de Mayo. And every little thing worked on those we really, really sweated the front and back pages. On that Stinko DeFlyo, Steve Falk, the great photographer, he had a shot where Czechmanek, somehow he was able to get in the frame, Czechmanek way out of position, and you could see the puck going in the net. So it's a combination of the words, the photos, the attitude, everything. And, God bless, with the Daily News, we editorialized all the way through. The New York Times and other papers, they don't have that luxury. They just have to play it straight. But we were able, if the fan base was pissed off, we were able to make the back page pissed off. And I remember one year on the front page they got hammered, and it was I don't know if it was to the Steelers or the Bengals, but all the front page needed was a picture of a dog with an Eagles helmet, and it said Beagles instead of Steagles.
Oh,
So
that's great. Oh my God.
And so much fun doing it.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, without further ado, let's do this week's
All right.
headlines, Pat.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get this down to a science. I appreciate, as always, you having. I've got 5 for you. I'm going to let you drive the order. I've got Eagles, I've got Phillies, I've got Sixers, I've got general NFL, and I've got media/colleges. Where do you want to kick off?
This is great. All right. Well, let's go Phillies.
Okay. All right. Well, look, and some might say you're not allowed to do this, but they're clinching, right? I mean, it's a shame you had somebody on, you had it all lined up. You had Bowa there, and Bowa knows, and I'm with Bowa. I hope Sale gets rocked because that's razor thin with him and Wheeler. Sale's got him wins, loss. He's got him wins, ERA, strikeouts, but Wheeler's got him whip and opponent batting average. But for the Phillies, one of our headlines might be looking ahead is, what do you guys think? What's got you a little concerned more? Is it the Ranger Sanchez decision at 3, or is it just the general idea that this great lineup that can burst out has these long periods of nothing?
Yes.
Yes, that would be number one. Like I Ranger danger without a doubt. Oh, that's great. Ranger danger without a doubt, but I think it's the lineup.
Yeah, after the Arizona series, it's definitely the lineup for me.
Yeah. Clinching and clenched teeth. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it, Pat.
That's awesome.
I'll work more in the headlines as we do this, but just to get us going. And believe me, I'm no Doug Derrick or Drew McQuaid. Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So right there, you would lean that way. Yeah.
Yes.
So, that's something that, a lot of times off of something, we might look ahead or be analytical. And we know what the headline's going to be. It's going to be that they clinch any day now. So this was just a little something that would give you the daily news spin. Okay, Eagles, Sixers, NFL, or media/colleges.
All right, Sixers.
Okay, now we're talking about Mayor. That was a bold proclamation by Mayor Parker, and
look at that.
Here's the thing: this thing's got a long way to go, but boy, that carries a lot of weight. And when you're analyzing that, I think you're thinking about. Even the hint of New Jersey got the inactivity to stop. And, Mayor Parker in a big way there, Now, couple things here. This is Philadelphia, and, nothing's over until it's over. So on one end, you got the city council, and you never know what's going to happen there. On the other end is, this is going to be against the current arena and their best interests, and I wouldn't count Dan Hilferty out on anything. I mean, Hilferty's been, just a force of nature there, and he's going to be coming up with his own plan. But I look at Mayor Parker. She said this is going to be the best finance deal ever entered into by a mayor for a local sports arena. So she's putting her foot out there. And I saw something about it. Another thing that strikes me with arenas, Anthony, is like that starting as the Core State Center. It feels like yesterday we did a special section for that starting up 1996.
Wow.
So an arena is obsolete now in 28 years. Can that sustain itself around the country?
No, I don't know how you do that. I mean, I know it's amazing how the shelf life of these stadiums and arenas are. Look at Atlanta, the Braves. They built a whole new stadium. I was there for Turner Field, and they have a new stadium. Like it's like a 20-year cycle.
Yes. Yeah, I would go to other towns at these APSE conventions. I remember going to a Braves game in Atlanta, and I remember going to a Rangers game in Fort Worth. And those two fields I were at, they're both gone.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
You know,
And didn't they just do like millions of dollars of renovations to Wells Fargo?
They're going to do more.
100 million. Yeah.
100 million. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting how these things I remember distinctly from the special section that, and, you know, Ed Snyder, to his credit, you know, he did that. He put that up on his own.
He did.
What he asked for was the parking, which was really shrewd back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah, look, I got everything. You give me the parking. Okay, you got the parking. Well, Ed made out really well on that. Smart guy. But 240 mil. Now you're talking the Sixers, this is well over $1 billion. So,
yep.
You know, the price of putting something like that up. But, you know, a lot can happen in years. But if they get city council, whatever, I guess we're on their way. And I was kind of looking at the notion of one of the things we would have analyzed in the Daily News is the notion of who has one stadium, who has two stadiums. And, you know, it's kind of becoming, you know, 50-50. You know, in Minnesota, the T-Wolves and the Wild play at different places. In Carolina, the Hornets and the Hurricane are different places. Miami, you know, the Panthers are in Sunrise, Florida, north of Miami. The Heat are in Miami. But then you look at some of the, you know, iconic names. Boston Garden's got both, you know. New York's got both. But
Chicago.
New York, yeah, you got to fill all these places. New York's, that Barclays Center Garden, that has to be an incredible battle. You're right about, you know, Chicago. That's all in the United Center. So
Dallas.
Where's it all
Dallas
going?
has two. They played it together in downtown.
Yes. Yeah. And Denver does it. Washington, they're both together. But it's not 50-50, but it's
interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. Mayor Parker certainly, you know, looking at that New Jersey thing and really, you know, and I don't recall a mayor ever getting out in front of that. I think the mayor usually kind of plays it, plays their hand close to the vest and would let city council and all that play out before, you know, and look at all the political.
That was a proclamation.
Yeah,
that was old school. Yeah. That was old school mayor of Philadelphia proclamation.
It was, yeah, and you know, I really root for the mayor. I don't really, you know, whatever they decide here, they decide. But you know, after the last guy, I'm hoping, you know, we've got nowhere to go but up, as far as I'm concerned. You know.
All right, let's go to NFL.
Okay. When I was on with you guys recently, we kind of wondered about this guy because he's on the Eagles schedule, but sometimes you got to be happy with what you have. And, you know, we're sharp. I'm picking on the Phillies situation they're hitting, but hey, couldn't be happier. 3 years in a row making the playoffs. That's great. But in the NFL, you know, everybody, and we do have our questions about Jalen Hurts, but how about some of the major busts out there? After 2 weeks, Bryce Young gets sat, and Deshaun Watson, what a horrible move that's been.
Caleb Williams.
Morally, and then now on the field, it's brutal. And then the other guy, you know, that we talked about the last time we were together is, when's Trevor Lawrence ever going to get it together? Is he
not
going
Sunshine. Sunshine's taking shrapnel.
Yes. Yeah, Ron. Yeah. The Jaguars own Ronnie Bass. You know, it's ridiculous. But you know, the thing about Bryce Young is, we'll see about that, but it's incredible what the Bears reaped from that.
Yes, unbelievable.
I mean, the Bears get DJ Moore, Imhotep's and Phillies own DJ Moore. He has 96 catches last year.
Yeah.
They get Caleb Williams this year. They got the 9th pick in the draft. They moved down, got some capital there. They get a starting right tackle in Darnell Wright. They get the 61st pick. They pick up Patterson. He's already got a pick 6 this year. He's starting at cornerback. And then next year, they're going to have a 2nd-round pick. Oh,
it's unbelievable.
I have good friends from my previous existence in sports betting, and it's centered in Charlotte. And I get a couple guys down there, and boy, I feel for being a Panthers fan.
Oh, that's brutal. All right, Give me media.
Well, the media, it makes me happy in some ways, but it's interesting. Two big moves, one locally and one nationally. Locally last year, our Daily News friend Dana O'Neill, who's had an incredible career at ESPN and The Athletic, leaves to go to Villanova for a newly created position to kind of bulk up everything behind the Villanova basketball operation for women and men. And, I'll be rooting really hard. I'll be up to see Dana next week, I'm sure. But it's interesting to see that. My whole career, I always wondered about what's the second act, because you always worried about the future of newspapers.
Yeah.
But now Dana does that. And then a week later, this thing with Woj, and I respect the hell out of what he did. Now, as you know, you never know what's going on behind the scenes, and you never know if there was a contract not to come or whatever, but Woj had to be giving up 6, 7, 8 mil or something. And, at 55, I think it just drove him, he'd had it. It was too much of a grind, and he went and he's going to do something he loves. And this whole concept in colleges of a GM now, and it's not the way
I want to be GM. I want to create my own football program. All right, I'm looking to commandeer either Westchester, Delaware, or Rowan. Right, I'm going to go get Michael Rubin, all the big wigs in town, all the money for NIL, because I think NIL, Fanatics NIL would go huge, right? And then I want to take over the program, go to Division I, because I think you could build a college program now way easier, right? Because it's all about money. I'll attack the portal, and I'm going to turn, because Temple's not interested in football. So I got to turn my attention to a leafy, green, perfect situation. And I go Westchester, Delaware, or Rowan. What do you think?
It's a brand new world. And just think of all the tons of 6th grade prospects over in South Jersey that you're in on the ground floor with already.
Exactly. Anthony. I'm telling you. I see it. I got a game at Lenape today, freshman football. All right, St. Augustine against Lenape. So Ant's playing. I see it all, man. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to build this program, Pat. You're my SID.
We're all with you. We're on for the ride.
All right, number one.
We can't back you with the money, but we're in for the ride.
Yeah. Number one, Eagles.
Okay. And Anthony, you wrote that if our good man Andrew Frazier puts it up, when you started talking about this, you put up there the notion of missing front teeth. And I'm not backing off of that. Yes. Anthony, you hit it pretty good with a headline. I mean, can the Eagles fans get behind a team that can't rush the passer? I mean, can an NFL team survive? It made me dig into some of the stuff. Me and you and VG are all about the defense. JP, I'm not sure where he stands, but we had a lot of fun laughing about Buddy and all that stuff back then. And I dug up some interesting stuff. The Eagles, by the way, are on the pace with 3 sacks, and there are 3 teams worse than them now, the Panthers and 2 others. They're on pace they get more because it's 17 games, right? They're on pace for 25 and a half sacks.
Oh.
That's anemic. It's anemic. The year they went to the Super Bowl, now that was
games,
crazy.
By the way.
Yeah, that was crazy in 2022. One of the reasons they get to the Super Bowl is 70 sacks. Yeah. 70.
Oh,
I found it interesting. The year that they won it, they only had 38, which kind of surprised me. But the sack numbers in 70, they had 4 guys with double-digit sacks.
Oh.
And, wow. Oh, and now let's look at this year's team. I mean, you're worried about Huff. And frankly, you're worried, do we have a University of Georgia problem?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
This time last year, everybody was worried about Nakobe Dean. There's a chance Nakobe Dean's the first or second best player out of that group over time.
Yeah. No, I mean, Jordan Davis, I'm at a loss. Like, how could you get so little out of that pick. That was a big investment. Like, I think Carter's a player, but Jordan Davis give you nothing. Poor Nolan Smith, I mean, I don't say him. He's ghost-like.
I love putting a good pig right in the middle of your D line.
Yeah.
And that's what Davis is. He's our pig.
Yes.
Put in there, clog everything up, and you can't run over me.
Yes.
I'll take 3 guys, we'll create a big thing, and I'm not seeing it. When you do see something good out of Davis, it's because he's chasing somebody. You think, wow, big guy like that can move. That's nice. I'd rather see him immobile and causing problems than being able to say he can move. Let the other guys move.
You're spot on. That's why you're the greatest. The former editor of the Daily News, who a long, illustrious career. I love this segment. So this will be Thursdays. Every Thursday, we're going to do headlines of the week. You're the best, brother. That was incredible stuff.
Thanks, Anthony. I look forward to doing it every week, and it's good to be with VG and JP, too.
Thanks, brother.
Nice.
There he is. Pat McLoone. Tremendous Philadelphian. He's just a great Philadelphian. I freaking love it, man. Just great stuff. All right, let me tell you about, that's right, Parks Casino, because it's a big weekend coming up at Parks Casino. It's the Pennsylvania Derby, the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby and Cotillion Day, Saturday. 2 $1 million purses up for grabs. Damn. Live thoroughbred racing in Ben Salem. It's a blast. I've been there. Trust me, you got to go. It's so much fun. And how about this year's ambassadors? You ready? Phil Martelli, Brad Lidge, Charlie Manuel. Yeah. There you go. Gates open 10 a.m. First live post 11:35 a.m. Free family fun in the Picnic Grove. Pony rides, face painters, moon bounce, live music from Big Romeo, Uptown String Band, plus souvenir merchandise and food and beverage specials. The Bet Parks PA Derby will broadcast live 4:30 to 6:30 on NBC Sports Philadelphia. All right? It's a blast, something of so much fun to do. So check it out. Got to be 18 to wager at Parks Racing. Got to be 21 for Parks Casino.
Shiver me timbers, that sounds like fun.
JP, I don't know what that was. Tell us about Rite Aid, please.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I don't know what he's talking about.
We have the allergies over there.
All right. Well, let's cure it. Is there something he can take over the counter?
Oh, yeah, we got the.
I got Baldy coming up, and I don't know what Baldy's going to say about that.
Yeah, we got the nasal rinse. You got the allergy meds.
Baldy's going to be like, what is that? All right. Tell us about Rite Aid.
Absolutely, guys. Listen, if you have the allergy like skis, or listen, you need a drink, you need some snacks, you got some people coming over, you're going to need some paper plates, some cups. Heck, maybe, your girlfriend or your wife needs some makeup. They have that for you, too. Everything you need is at our neighborhood Rite Aid, guys. So you need to make sure that you're hitting it up. You can refill your prescription, schedule a vaccine, get personalized care recommendations. You can sign up for prescription notifications. All you need to get started is a prescription at Rite Aid. Get started at riteaid.com/mypharmacy. And you can stop stressing about those prescriptions. Let Rite Aid refill them automatically. Enroll in automated courtesy refills. It's free, easy, and most prescriptions qualify. Talk with your Rite Aid pharmacist or sign up through My Pharmacy account at riteaid.com. And keep in mind that restrictions do apply. Transfer your prescriptions at Rite Aid today. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid caring pharmacists are ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you need, including over-the-counter medications, household products, cosmetics, and much more. Just ask your pharmacy team for more details and keep in mind that restrictions do apply. So whatever you need, ladies and gentlemen, listen, Sunday, it's our first 1 o'clock game. We have a day game. So listen, if you need anything, make sure you hit up Rite Aid for any last-minute things. And of course, as always, thank you to our friends over at Rite Aid.
All right, JP, thank you, buddy. And Rite Aid does bring us our 10:30 portion of the program. And now, very excited, as always, it's a Meat Locker Thursday. And here he is, the one, the only, Baldy.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football.
Oh, Baldy! I got to tell you, that never gets old.
It gets better and better.
It just is just so great.
He's got the sleeves cut off.
Look at
that. Guns out.
That was outrageous.
I need that.
I love that shirt.
He's been hanging out with Belichick.
He's right downstairs. Belichick, he beat me he beat me in the parking lot this morning. He's right downstairs. He's living here right now. So you heard what he had to say about Nick Sirianni's decision. He's not mincing any words right now about what he's doing.
Well, let's talk about that. But first of all, have you seen him yet? Have you chatted with him?
I saw him in the lunchroom the other day. Lombardi's here with them every Tuesday. They're putting the band back together. He's taking this job inside the NFL with Ryan Clark and Chris Long, real serious. He's really studying the whole league. His film room is right down the second floor, but everybody's sort of amazed that this is really what Bill Belichick is like. He's actually personable and learning people's names in the cafeteria and wanting to pay even though he doesn't have to pay, for his lunch or drinks or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I see his car here. I don't know if he's going home. He might be sleeping in his little office.
Well, what's interesting is that don't give him this year to study the league, because if he studies the league, look out. Next year, somebody's going to get a gift because he'll know all the tendencies, man.
You know what, Cubs? I'm so glad you said that, because our good friend Steve Spagnuolo did the same thing 4 years ago. He was literally here in my office, Greg Cosell's office, and he was studying not just the league, but he was studying the college game. And he wanted to see, because all the trends were coming from college, whether it was, the pace of the game or the spread offense or, the quarterback fit into the run game. And now look what, Kansas City is at with Spags and what he's doing. I totally agree. I mean, you kind of step back, you look at these trends. Obviously, we're seeing these trends, and not just this year. It's been going on. The passing game is just falling off a cliff. The running game is picking up. Teams like the Eagles that have no clue how to stop the run are just broken, going against a team that knows exactly how to do it in New Orleans this week. So I think you're spot on. I think step back, study this league, seeing it's almost like, okay, if you can get a Shanahan disciple to run your offense the way New Orleans did with Clint Kubiak, you could put that side of the ball together. I mean, it's just, I think he's going to be really smart about this.
So, all right, after studying the film, sleeping on it, let's put to bed Monday night. And what are your conclusions for this Eagles team?
Well, defensively, they're a mess. I mean, an absolute mess. So they gave up 180 yards to Green Bay, 190 yards last week to Atlanta. And, they're giving up 6.4 yards a carry. It's not like they gave up a 90-yard run and that just skewers the stats. No, I mean, they've given up 14 runs of 8 yards or more in 2 games. They're getting gashed because they have no clue about gap defense and run fits. And so it's the linebackers not fitting it. It's the safeties not fitting it. It's allowing Drake London to block their 8th defender right out of the hole. And then they don't get off blocks. They're stuck to these blocks. And it's just broken. And so I don't care who's calling the defense. It's not good. Obviously, the pass rush is non-existent. And you could break it down player to player to player. I heard you talking about, the University of Georgia guys. I mean, Jordan Davis has played 50% of the snaps. He has 2 tackles. He has no pressures. Bryce Huff is invisible. Jalen Carter has gone backwards. I don't see the same power and the same physical level of play that he had a year ago. And
the worst thing about it is, right, and you asked about this the other day, but he was late, so that's why he didn't start. And, that's a mentality. You can't have that, man.
You can't. And they did the right thing. They sat him the first 5 plays. And so, but then, I was Warren Sapp hit me up Monday night when the game was going on. He knows a little bit about defense, okay? And I lean on Warren about a lot of play in this league. But he's like, why are the tackles in a 2 technique? I go, I don't know, Warren. I go, what defense is built around that? You're in shades. You're in 1s and 3s. So you go back and you watch it, and the backside guard, Chris Lindstrom, is cutting the Eagles' best linebacker, Zach Bond. He's got no protection.
Yeah.
So, and now here comes Bijan for 15 yards up the middle. Why aren't they in shades? Why would you play 2 techniques in a run defense? It makes no sense. In pass rush, you're starting your rush down the middle of the offensive lineman. You're not even on the edge of them. I mean, they did adjust a little bit later, but why you would start like that is just a head scratcher. You just don't see that, period.
No, you look at it and people go, "Oh, is it fixable?" Right? Is the Eagles' defense fixable with that personnel? Is it up to Fangio, who's going to have to scheme around all those weaknesses?
Well, it's interesting. They brought in Clint Hurt, University of Miami guy, who came from Seattle. He was defense coordinator last year. He was a defense line coach before. I mean, Seattle was 31st in run defense last year. It's one of the reasons why Pete Carroll's gone. And they traded for Leonard Williams. It didn't get any better. It's about run fits. If you just watch the Chicago Bears go to Houston last week, that's what run defense looks like. Joe Mixon goes from running for 160 yards against the Colts. He couldn't get 2 yards of carry last. They just squeezed the run. It's literally at the end of every play, cuz you should have an A gap player, a B gap player, a C gap, and a D gap. Now there's a variety of ways to get there. You can stunt to those gaps. You can fill it with your safety. But literally, when you watch great defenses play, you could put blindfolds on the linebackers and they know where they're going and where they have to be. And I don't get the feeling that the Eagles have any idea about that. Now, can it be fixed? Yes. But it starts with just gap integrity, run fits, getting into your gaps. That's how you stop the run. Otherwise, you're going to keep getting gashed the way Josh Jacobs and Bijan and Algier have so far.
Meat Locker Thursday brought to you by Primo Hoagies. Not just a hoagie, it's a Primo. So here's my conclusion after looking at the game again. I think the Eagles are a downhill running team. It's not who Jeffrey Lurie, that's not what Jeffrey Lurie likes. They need to sell out and become the downhill running team they are with a great run blocking offensive line, a great back, and that does a couple things. One, it chews up time, it keeps your defense off the field, and it doesn't expose you. And they need to sell out and become a downhill run team. That's my conclusion, Baldy. You tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Not with you. And why don't you just do the right thing? 4th and 4, first quarter, why don't just kick the field goal? Just take the point. It's a long game. Take the points. I'm not looking backwards. I mean, obviously, they don't win a Super Bowl if they're not going for it and running Philly special on 4th down. But there is times to do that. There is times to take a gamble. It's the end of the half, right? In that Super Bowl game, it was a shootout game. You had a match. That's Brady on the other side. You had to match points. Sometimes you just got to do the right thing. That's what Harbaugh is doing with the Chargers. They're punting when it's supposed to punt. They're not gambling. They're running the ball when you should with 1 minute and 48 seconds to go and no timeouts. And the clock is the enemy. Sometimes you should just do the right thing. And that's not what the upstairs group wants, no question. They're into the analytics, which is fine. There's a place for these analytics. And I'm not anti-analytic in anything. Baseball, football, I'm not anti-basketball. There's a place for it. But there's also a place to do the right thing. And so I feel like they could, and to your point, that's the strength of this team right now is the run game, letting the offense line go to work. Jalen's a part of the run game. That looks to be the strength of this team right now, especially with AJ out of the lineup right now.
Yeah, and again, it does. It keeps your defense off the field, right? If I'm Kellen Moore, that's my game plan against New Orleans, which is I don't want my defense exposed to that offense right now. I need to control the line of scrimmage on offense and control the football. And I have the offensive line. Like you said this from the beginning about Mekhi Becton at guard and how well he's a fit there. Look at some of the holes that right side with Lane's a beast. That right side is a great weapon. And if you're going to become a downhill running team, that means you punt, you kick field goals, like you play it that way. And again, like I'm with you. Like I joke about the analytics and stuff, but you can't sell out as a religion. Anytime it becomes a religion, you might as well be the Taliban. That's what kind of fanaticism it becomes.
Well, look, there's a league-wide trend here, and it's been going on for years, that the passing game is on a downward spiral right now. I mean, you go watch Cleveland play pass defense, you go watch the Saints play pass defense, and you look at these athletes that are in man-to-man coverage. They are elite. They're as good as athletes as any of the wide receivers they're guarding. And so they're not giving you, unless you're breaking down in the back end like the Eagles do, like they went zero blitz on the Darnell Mooney, touchdown. It's the only time they went. Maybe that's why Vic, hesitated at the end of the game. But the same issues that affected this defense a year ago when they gave up 35 touchdown passes, the second most in the league, to the Commanders, are plaguing them again. I mean, and that play, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has to tackle Darnell Mooney. You got to make him earn the touchdown. You can get beat in zero coverage, but you got to tackle the catch. You can't let him dance in and flip in the end zone on you. But they're a poor tackling team, and they're just fundamentally unsound in the run game. That's a bad combination.
You said about the quarterbacks, and I let's talk about this for a second, because you got obviously Bryce Young benched. You look at the struggles of Trevor Lawrence. You look at the struggles of Deshaun Watson. You look at the struggles of Caleb Williams. Now, some of it's young, but also you got a guy like Lawrence. Like, what's going on with quarterback play?
Well, I mean, you look at what Cleveland did to him. I mean, Cleveland shut down the run game. Okay. I mean, this is Schwartzy now. And, he's doing certain things to get Myles Garrett free, meaning let's bring JOK, make the back him up, and then we'll get one-on-one with Myles. He ruined him. They had a chance to get in the game last week, and he hit Trevor Lawrence. Trevor's not accurate with the ball. You can see the frustration, him and Gabe Davis. He had shots to the end zone, shots in the sideline. He's sailing the ball when he gets a chance. I mean, he's completing 50% of his passes. I mean, that's like you're not going to win games. No. And they're awful on third downs. That's the stat in this league that's so alarming right now is these bad offenses. Look at what they're doing on third downs. Like they're in the low 20s right now converting third downs. You get 3rd and 8 in this league right now, and you get these teams that have guys like New Orleans, like this Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alante Taylor, like they love lining up playing man coverage. Like, and then you got Tyrann Mathieu back there, and the guy's putting together like a Hall of Fame resume. Like he just keeps taking the ball away and force. Like they're really good, And you look at these quarterbacks right now, and they're like, they're in these empty sets, and you're telling them right now, okay, make these reads. Well, they're not getting the time to make all these. They're getting hit. Like Caleb Williams got sacked 7 times and hit 11. And their third down offense makes no sense. None. And so, like, he's getting crunched. Like, none of these rookie quarterbacks, Bo, Jaden, they haven't thrown a touchdown pass yet. Like, it's hard right now. It's hard for these kids.
Yeah, and they think their athleticism is going to get them by, like, in college. And you just go, dude, like, this is such a different league. The windows are, like, almost slammed shut on you. Like and you're not gonna get past them using all your God-given athleticism. Don't work.
No, I mean, but you're going to see a game tonight in New England, and you just watch that team play defense now. I mean, they don't give you any. Their run fits are flat out perfect. This Keon White, who took over for Matt Judon, is a player. I mean, you don't see many 6'5", 285-pound defensive ends. He plays everywhere, up and down the line. But they're very, very stout up front. They have a formula. They run the ball very well. They found 2 rookie offensive linemen that are really good run blockers. They're playing really good football. I mean, look, they easily could have beaten Seattle the other day. They gave up, they broke down in pass coverage, gave DK a free one. If they don't do that, they win the game. It never even gets to overtime. And they did the same thing to Cincinnati the week before. Like, the Jets got their work cut out for them against this team tonight.
Hey, I want to ask you about Zach Bond, but before, just to touch on what you guys are talking about, I was going to bring this nug up later. Passing touchdowns through the first 2 weeks of the NFL. 2021, there was 110. 2022, there was 105. Last year, there was 86. This year, 69. Real drop-off with passing touchdowns.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you're looking at 3 rookie quarterbacks that haven't thrown one. Last week, Pittsburgh, they've thrown one. Pittsburgh is 2-0. They've thrown 1 touchdown. They've scored 1 touchdown. The only touchdown was a 5-yard throw to Darnell Washington last week. Like, the teams are saying, you look at Justin Herbert, he's not throwing touchdown passes. Like, he's got a couple on the board, but they're teams are saying, okay, Pittsburgh's willing to run it. The Chargers are willing to run it right now, not turn the ball over, play defense. I mean, they're finding formulas right now just to win games, and it's not throwing touchdown passes. Tua gets hurt. All right, touchdown passes are going to go way down in Miami. Buffalo changed their offense. They're by far a run-first offense right now, and so some of these teams are just going, we're just going to coach to win these games, and we don't care if we throw touchdown passes or how many we throw. We care about being 2-0. And so that's what teams are doing right now.
I mean, even Andy, right? Andy's got his new toy, the fullback, right? Like, you look at how now he loses Pacheco, but he was all in on run. That's Andy, man. He's running the football. He believes in the fullback. And you said it last year, you and I were talking about it, fullback making a comeback.
Good. I formation is a beautiful thing. I mean, Harbaugh's running I formation right now. You've seen a lot of 2-back offenses. It's coming back into vogue slowly. It's coming back slowly. I mean, there's still, San Francisco always going to have use check out there. They're always going to have an I formation. It's coming back in certain places, for sure. But yes, like you look at Kansas City right now. Kelsey's got 4 catches in 2 games. Like, he hasn't been a part of this offense. He's frustrated, but teams are taking him away and making him home. Like, they got a big problem at left tackle right now. They benched the rookie last week. The backup is even worse. So, Mahomes is, he's getting itchy back there real quick. When Trey Hendrickson's out there, he'll see Matt Judon this weekend. He's going to see some good pass rushers coming off the edge. I mean, they know that they've got a weakness at that position right now.
So, Saints and Buccaneers up next for the Eagles. You've been high on Tampa. You said Tampa when you were down there in training camp. You're like, dude, listen, look, don't sleep on the Buccaneers. First of all, how real is New Orleans? And what's this 2-game stretch look like for the Eagles?
Well, we'll talk in order here. New Orleans, coaching matters in this league. Clint Kubiak is straight out of Mike Shanahan's system. Gary Kubiak, like, it's the Shanahan system. Okay, now you go and you draft the best tackle, arguably, in Taliesin Fuaga. I mean, Joel, there's some really good ones. But he actually fixed 2 positions. Trevor Penning was a disaster at left tackle. They drafted him in the first round out of Northern Iowa. He was benched 2 years in a row. Now he's going to the right tackle position. He can kind of more play his style. They're a left-handed team. They run left. You can chart it on Sunday afternoon because the number of runs that Kamara, Taysom Hill, Jamal Williams run, they're running left. Behind Fuaga, Aduki, Lucas Patrick at left guard. Like, they're good, really good. And they've got Deshaun Jackson at wide receiver and Rashid Shaheed. It's exactly who he is.
I love that Shaheed. Oh, man.
He's Deshaun. Like, he ran right by both safeties of the Cowboys.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Good. Wilson, Malik Hooker ran right by him. 70 yards, 1 play. He's done that 2 weeks in a row now. So, and then Olave can beat any man coverage. And you want to put him on Slay? All right, good, fine. But, like, he can turn – like, Slay's good. He's still good, even though he gave up that one at the end. I understand, the leverage he gave Drake London. But regardless, like, Olave can beat anybody. So if you look at them, so offensively, Kamara is all the way back. The run game is on. And then Derek Carr now is the play action passes, everything. Like, he's playing the best of any quarterback in this league. It's real. But if you watch him defensively, like this Alante Taylor is their slot defender. Like this guy is like Kool-Aid is out there. Like they've got big corners that can run and cover. So, and then
see when you say, listen to this, VG, when Baldy says he puts the preposition this in front of the name, that's when he likes a guy. This Alante Taylor. Yeah. That's your tell that you like it. And that's football guy speak to the nth degree. I freaking love it.
But it takes a literati like yourself, though, Cuz, to actually pick up on it. So I credit your literature and your grammar to see that. But, you know, they're a press man team. And this Tyrann Mathieu is building a Hall of Fame resume. He can't get it all away. Like, he's in his 12th year now. I've been breaking down Tyrann Mathieu since a rookie. He is a great
Spags loves him. To this day, his favorite guy is Honey Badger.
Well, it's his love of the game. He's back in, like, some guys shouldn't go back to their hometown and play. They just shouldn't. But he's back in New Orleans. But all his demons are gone. Like, he's a family man. He's a father. Like, he's a mature adult. But he loves football. And he's got rare instincts for the ball. And so now you get Alante, Kool-Aid, Paulson, Adebo. You watch these guys play press man coverage. Like, it's how you draw it up. They're an impressive football team. Now, if you go to Tampa, I told you this summer, this is going to be a good football team. But yeah. What I eyeball now in this league, when I go to practices, I look at their corners. Like Zion McCollum looks like a small forward. Like he's 6'3", he's long. He had an interception last week. He had 4 passes defense. If you look at Jamel Dean, he's 6'2". Like their corners are big. You know, Jared Goff last week had 18 incompletions. They defended 10 passes. Like the passing game was non-existent. Now you have to look at their personnel. You look at, you look at Yaya Diaby. You look at Kalijah Cansey. You look at some of these young players they have, KJ Reed. You look at some of these young players. They played without Antoine Winfield Jr. last week, their best defensive player. First team All-Pro safety last year, highest paid safety in football. He didn't play. They took this Christian Itzian out of Rutgers from a backup corner position, played him at safety, and you didn't know that he wasn't a full-time starting safety. I mean, and then Todd Bowles can drop blitzes and pressure with the best of them.
He's an underrated defensive guy, man. Todd is always Temple Todd. He's always been underrated.
Well, they held a stacked Detroit roster to 16 points. So, and Baker's is awesome. He's just like last week. It was Godwin got the balls. He also scrambled and kept plays alive all day long. He's underrated from an athletic standpoint. I mean, if Hutchinson's chasing, you're getting away from him.
Yeah.
Like he made a bunch of big plays in that game to win that game.
Oi, Baldy, I sure loves the Bucks.
I do love the Bucks.
I love me the Bucks.
All morning, Baldy, Andrew has been speaking like a pirate. What is it? I mean, he went to this Renaissance fair on Saturday, and he dressed up like a pirate.
Show Baldy your picture.
Has he been in touch with Pat Croce and his pirate museum?
I need to get him in touch with him, but what's the deal? Why have you been talking like a pirate all day today?
It be National Talk Like a Pirate Day.
National what?
National Talk Like a Pirate
It's
Day.
National Talk Like a Pirate Day today, guys.
Did he binge watch Pirates of the Caribbean?
I mean,
Johnny Depp.
It is Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Dude.
Of all do you have a pirate story? You have done everything in the. You have a story about everything. Is there any sort of pirate story? I couldn't even imagine what, but if anybody would, it would be you.
I mean, look. I mean, you have to study the Portuguese and Spanish explorers in the 1500s, right?
Vasco da Gama.
With Magellan, you go to Balboa, you go to Vasco da Gama. Like, these ships, Magellan left with a fleet of 5 ships. All right. He left Valencia, Spain. And of course, his first big stop, when he's trying to find the pathway to the Pacific to make the circumnavigation of the globe, he brought a secretary with him, Picafalo. And so Picafalo took notes the whole time. So, he got commissioned by King Philip, the King of Spain, even though Magellan was Portuguese. So it was a real issue. But there's a couple funny things about this circumnavigation. The first thing is, when they got to the coast of Brazil and they got off the boats, they couldn't get the men back on the boats. They saw those Brazilian women. And it has never changed for 500 years. 500 years because they can't escape. The Brazilian women bring men to their knees. They couldn't get them back on the boat, to go find the pathway around the.
They're like, are you nuts? Look at us. What are we leaving for?
Think about it. You've been on a boat for 60 days, leaving Spain, coming out of the Mediterranean. You're crossing the Atlantic, and you're hovering the coast, and you're in Brazil. And you get off the boat for the first time, and you discover Brazilian women. You're like you just died and went to heaven.
Yeah,
that sounds like me type of booty.
Oh my
God. But if you look, you look at these explorers that I'm talking about. It was the age of the pirates. Like, let's raid these ships.
Yeah.
Their ships are loaded. Let's raid the ships.
Yeah.
And so, they're still finding treasures.
Yeah. Recently.
In the Caribbean.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saw a recent. I don't know. What's your opinion on? So he dressed up and went to a Renaissance fair. Have you ever been to a Renaissance fair?
No, I just study the Renaissance, but I don't want to go to a fair.
He's a Renaissance man. He's a Renaissance man.
He goes to this
I want
place.
to go to Florence. I want to go to Florence and study the age of the Renaissance. I don't want to dress up like a.
And it's like the English countryside, and they had some sort of pirate ship in the intro. I don't even understand it. It doesn't even go. And he's dressing up, Baldy. The producer's dressing up like a pirate. It's on Saturday. College football's going on.
Well, tell them that, Halloween doesn't start for 5 more weeks, all right? So
yes.
it's time to do that.
Yeah. All right. Finally, your 3 meats of the week. Again, Meat Locker, brought to us by Primo Hoagies.
His eyes light up.
That's it. Yeah. Baldy has watched all the tape. His 3 meats.
You got to start with Fuaga. Fuaga right now, left tackle for the Saints, is an absolute beast. You can't take that off. Taliesin Fuaga, is an absolute beast.
Yeah, Derek Carr's not getting sniffed this week.
No.
Yeah. He's not. And then, you got to go Joe Alt. Joe Alt, what he's doing to defense, what he did to Jadeveon Clowney the other day, he clowned him. He's got a flipper blocking Clowney with one flipper, and then he's burying the linebacker on the same play. And there goes J.K. Dobbins, right behind him. Those 2 guys for sure. And then I'll just go Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is from Apopka, Florida. That's Jalen Carter. That's Warren Sapp. It's just a football. It's right outside of Orlando. It's Hendrickson, I don't know if he had 3 sacks. He chased Mahomes all over the field. The Bengals did everything but win that game. But he was a true meat. What he did. He's a great player.
Yeah, just a great meat. You are the lead meat, the head meat. You're the greatest, brother. Where are you off to this weekend?
I'm going to New Orleans. Go to New Orleans on Saturday and be down there. I was on. Really interesting, cuz. So I was on a podcast with Mickey Loomis the other day. He knew I was coming down there for the game, so he called me. So we were just talking about his team and the game coming up and all that. They, to the rest of the league and us fans, the new kickoff rule looks like a nothing burger to us all. Teams Eagles just kicking out of the end zone, put the ball. The Saints don't believe in that. The Saints believe in covering the kick and putting it in play. And the starting field position.
That's fascinating. By the way, thanks to our diehards. We appreciate you. All right. We love you. And thanks for being with us. The diehards, especially with Baldy here. So they believe it's something.
So 2 things. One, I was talking to Dave Tobe about Kansas City's great special teams coach. And he's like, Baldy, look, he goes, we're just building tape on what teams are doing and who's returning the kick. That determines some things. Their coverage units. He said it's going to be a factor. So he told me that on Sunday. I filed it. Then I'm talking to Mickey, and Mickey, they have had they've scored 91 points. They've had a lot of kickoffs. But I always believe this, that your kickoff coverage team is an extension of your defense. Most of your coverage guys are backup defensive linebackers, defensive backs. Like, they want to be a part of the defense. I want my kickoff coverage team to be an extension of my defense. All right? So put the ball in play, go beat some stupid one-on-one blocks, and go make the tackle and keep them. Put them at the 20-yard line. Let them start. Don't just give it to them at the 30, and you don't let those guys go defeat blocks and make tackles. I think it's really, really interesting. It's something to watch for this game this week. See what the Eagles' starting field position is. Now, I know Covey, whoever's returning the kicks back there, I'd be interesting to see. But it's just a little thing to look for in this game on Sunday.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. By the way, they didn't run anything for Dotson. He was just running dummy routes. I mean, he's just learning the offense. I mean, like, I don't know.
There's a reason why they got rid of him in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like they went with Luke McCaffrey, the rookie, over him. Like he's a short guy. He's small. Okay, there's no like those guys can. There's guys that can survive at that size if they're elite in the slot receivers. They went to Britton Covey last week. I mean, he was winning, and those were the throws were going to him. I haven't seen.
There was a lot of hot going to him too.
Okay, fine. I'm just saying, like, there's something about the way that Dotson runs routes and plays that he just isn't a targeted guy.
Yeah.
And Washington, even though he was a first-round pick and had a good career at Penn State, like, they gave up on him real quick.
And what about Goddard? I mean, don't you got to get him involved?
Yeah, but it doesn't look like this offense is geared to getting guys involved. It looks like it's geared to this is the reads, and the reads are going to take you to the receiver. It's not like, well, we're going to build this package for Goddard to be the number one. It doesn't look like in 2 games like that's what's being featured right now.
Yeah,
because Goddard was wide open on that pass to Barkley.
Yeah,
right over the middle. It seemed like an easier pass to complete, but I don't know.
Yeah, is there I guess the last thing
play at the end of the game was just silly by Jalen. I mean, you've got 30-something seconds to go. You got to go 20 yards. I mean, you're like, all you have to do is get the ball to the 40-yard line. You're in field goal range right now. You got to go 25 yards. Like, there's no rush. You got timeouts in your pocket. Like, if it's not there, throw it away.
I don't understand. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little surprised by Kellen Moore running a double move with Devontae, knowing that you got a quarterback that likes to play hero ball. You're going to take a shot there when all you need, you got 2 timeouts in your pocket? I didn't like the play call either.
Well, the 2 safeties, Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons there in Atlanta, they have 51 career interceptions now between the 2 of them. Like, no tandem of safeties in this league comes anywhere near what those 2 guys have put together. And so, like, that's the back end of their defense. Like, throw it underneath the way Kirk Cousins did.
Yeah.
Like, you had time. Like, that's a classic 2-minute. Like, you remember the number of times Doug Peterson would start a drive on that Super Bowl year with 35 seconds to go? Remember when they beat the Giants on a 61-yard field goal?
Yes.
They got the ball to, you've got time.
Yeah.
Like, 35 seconds is an eternity right now with 2 timeouts.
Yeah. I just don't get it. And on the other side, real quick, is he going to blitz? Like, at some point, you got to throw pressures out there. If you look at you're not getting home, you got to manufacture some pressure. No.
Well, they brought one. They ran one zone pressure in the last 6 plays. Nakobe Dean came. The back picked it up. They still just rushed 4. They didn't have any surprises. Nobody won a one-on-one, obviously. The coverage was way too soft. There is a rookie corner out there that looks like a rookie a bunch. He's talented, but his testing is poor, and he's still a rookie. His eyes aren't in the right place. It's like they're going at him a little bit right now, but they're going at Terrion Arnold in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, some of these rookies are rookies, and so there's a little bit of that fear right there. Nakobe Dean, might be the starting linebacker. He looks a little lost in pass coverage to me. Doesn't look like it's a strength of his right now. I would imagine that Kamara against Dean will be a featured matchup for New Orleans this weekend. But let's just face it. I mean, they could be 2-0 easily. You go to New Orleans and find a way to win that game, like you're on top of the NFC East, and you feel great about what you're doing.
All right. Finally, the last thing is, where does Baldy go in New Orleans?
Well, Mother's for breakfast. No doubt. There's a line to wait in. There's no
You like that chicory coffee? Do you like that New Orleans coffee, the chicory coffee?
Yeah, if I'm having a beignet in the morning, I'll definitely have the both and just enjoy the atmosphere of the scene. I'm going to get at least I'm going to get the biggest bowl of gumbo that I can find because there's nothing better. As just a food group, group, gumbo is right there underneath steak. Yeah. And then you at least 2 dozen oysters, minimum of 2 dozen. Yeah. I just want to watch them shuck oysters, and drink beer while they're doing it. So yes, there's going to be I'm not going to New Orleans and not having a food festival while I'm there.
Yeah.
Do you do any of the ghost tours, tarot card stuff, any of that when you're down there?
No, I don't believe in that black magic stuff.
There's no Santeria. Baldy's power.
I'm not going to buy a voodoo doll and stick in a pin in my biggest enemy on the planet. I think that's bad fun.
Hey, Baldy, can I ask you just one quick one? Because Zach Ball looked really good in Brazil to me, and then he was not as effective. And I saw some people breaking down tapes saying like they were cut blocking him, and he has no clue how to get off those cut blocks. Is that something that you saw? Can you teach it?
Why is Jalen Carter in a 2 technique? Why is Jordan Davis sitting in a 2 technique so that Chris Lindstrom can?
They got to be protected him.
That's why you're in the shades. So your freaking linebacker can have some protection to go make the tackle on Bijan. Like he's making the tackle at 4 yards instead of 15 on both those cut blocks. Like the tackles are sitting in a 2 technique. It allows the offensive tackle to actually cut the 2 technique, which he did. And then Lindstrom, who's a Pro Bowl guard, is taking the right angle to cut him. So I'm not blaming Zach Bond. I'm blaming the lineup of what they're doing. It makes zero. It's insane, actually. It's insane to line up in 2 techniques.
It is. I don't get it. My brother, you're the best. There's no one better. The great Baldy. Love you, buddy.
Hey, guys, I know you're going to watch a ton of football. Let's reconvene next week. Let's break it down.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the area at Lenape today because little Aunt St. Augustine goes to Lenape, which is not far. It's in Medford. So I'll be at Lenape. I may swing by and say hello.
All right. Well, I got a flight to catch this afternoon, so I'm going to have.
I won't miss you. I got to get you to one of the games.
Okay.
One of the kids committed to Texas, defensive tackle. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're good.
Archie Manning gets his first start this weekend.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait. He's awesome. The kid's ridiculous.
That his grandfather's athletic ability, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be the biggest show in college. I had a buddy of mine that's doing stats for the game. I told him, shoot me Archie Manning warming up. I'm going to break Archie down in pregame warming.
Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's going to be just amazing, man. I cannot wait.
I think they play Louisiana Monroe. It should be much of a game.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, all eyes are going to be on Archie, man. It's gonna be, I'm excited, really excited.
Yeah, me too, man. It's going to be awesome. When Friday night, Matt plays Illinois, so Nebraska's on Friday night. So check that out. It's check funny that out. Because Dylan Raiola, the quarterback, he's infatuated with Mahomes.
Of course.
And it's amazing. Like I was talking to him the other day about how he goes about his business. It's incredible. He's like, dude, this kid, you would think this kid's 30 years old in the NFL about how he's so regimented.
Good.
It's pretty awesome.
Well,
all right, brother.
I want to see Big Red back on the college football map, man. I know Matt's the guy to do it. He's got the quarterback now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. All right, brother. You're the best. We love you. Be safe.
Have a great one. See you, man.
Baldy.
Oh,
That
Baldy.
was a lot to unravel.
Yeah, man.
A lot of it not great.
No.
I'm worried about our defense even more.
Yes.
That left
I'm worried
side
about
of the
Skeeves.
Saints offense.
I'm worried about Andrew.
Oh, man.
I'm worried about Andrew.
It's this national holiday, cuz.
We're talk like a pirate day.
Hey, you got to
Baldy's
do
face?
it, right?
Dude, he's
Yeah.
really good at it, too, which is scary.
You are actually great at it. You're actually
Be a pirate. Come on.
I see why you're a theater man. You are great at it, dude.
Yeah.
I will say that. You got skills as a juggler. You have a really good voice.
We just got to see him dance next because
Yeah, like
he's a tapper.
He's a talented dude.
He is.
He's talented. We may have to do some talent stuff.
Maybe I'll make a TikTok or two to show you some dancing.
Yo, how about Baldy breaking out Antonio Pigafetta, Magellan's assistant?
As his, I mean,
The
you
Baldy
can-
breakdowns, baby.
No, like
kidding
he
me?
knows. Like if you say pirate, he's got some knowledge.
Antonio Pigafetta.
How he knew Vasco da
Oh,
Gama.
well, you know, nothing, right? If you're off the shores of Brazil, you've been on a boat for that long.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to go? Now we're leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to leave.
It's just fast because obviously we know Baldy's the football man, right? He breaks it all down. But
Nah,
he knows
he's a world.
history.
Yes, no, he's extremely intelligent.
So crazy.
He went to Duke.
That's
He was
right. I mean, yeah.
extremely intelligent.
Gotta be smart
But
there.
he's also very worldly. Like I always tell people, it's not about, obviously education is important,
For sure.
but traveling
Yeah.
and experiencing cultures
Yes, cuz.
is everything.
Everything.
Be open to it.
Yeah.
Eat what the people eat,
Yes.
right? Like we joke around, I'm like, I hate mayo and I hate this. Honestly, you put me in any city, I do what they do. I want to learn about their culture.
That's exactly
I
how I
love
feel.
the different cultures.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't like everything to be the same,
Right.
right? We need to have different cultures in the world. It allows for introspection, and you find common ground. It's so much fun. I love it. That's why Baldy's great at. New Orleans is one of the great cities. We'll toast New Orleans tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lots of fun
As
drinks.
we do our football
For the
Friday.
people, Phillies money line, Taiwan over 3.5 strikeouts, parlay on Bet Parks pays plus 295. I'm all over that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, we like that. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for us. Have a great day. All right. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow for Football Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.